welcome to another episode of the Centre Circle. We've now reached the magical number of episode 54. You got myself, Keith, hosting.
T.
Anyone you listening?
Supposed to introduce us, bro. We're waiting for you.
Nah, but online we do it different, innit? Like we do it different.
And yeah, Binsy, Adrian.
Nice to have you, lads. Nice to have you. So, been an eventful football weekend, FA Cup and Premier League. So we're going to start off with the FA Cup fixtures. So talk about the United Liverpool game that just finished. Wolves Coventry that happened yesterday. Chelsea v Leicester and Man City v Newcastle. Then go on to the Premiership games. Fulham Spurs, West Ham v Villa, Burnley v Brentford, Luton v Forest. And then a few off the field topics. So talk about the England squad that was announced on Thursday and Ben White's decision not to be called up and the fallout from that. And then the Champions League draw that took place on Friday, which has these two Arsenal fans very happy and excited. So, right, let's get into it. Liverpool against Manchester United at Old Trafford. Man United 4, Liverpool 3 after extra time. You guys want to go talk about this, or do you want me to go?
You start.
It's all on you, man.
You start.
Fair enough. So yeah, Man United started really well. I was quite surprised with how well they started the game, actually. And yeah, they deservedly went 1-0 up. McTominay prodded the ball in after a shot was carried by Kelleher. I can't remember who took the shot. I think it might have been Garnacho. But yeah, Man United were well deserved of their lead at that time. They were in the ascendancy, had a few chances before that, kind of had Liverpool on the back foot, and I thought it'd be a bit of a tricky afternoon for Liverpool. Sod's Law against like one of our biggest rivals, but Liverpool settled down and yeah, managed to get back in, get their noses back in front with a deflected shot from McAllister, and you can say it was a deserved equaliser at the time. Kind of we'd balanced out the game, and yeah, I think the equaliser were deserved. And then yeah, shortly after that, Mo Salah, who's got a bit of a prolific record at Old Trafford of late, nips in and makes it 2-1. And yeah, you could say based on the second half of the first half, we deserve to go into half time with the lead. And then yeah, second half comes, and we're all over them. Like I'm just waiting for the third goal to go in, kill off the tie, make it, a nice comfortable afternoon's work, get the semi-finals under our belts. Another trip to Wembley. Liverpool used to go to Wembley. They call it Anfield South, as they say. But yeah, we just couldn't get that third goal despite the domination of possession and play. And I think the key moment is when Klopp makes those substitutions, takes off Salah for Toney Gakpo, and then brings on Bradley as well for Robertson. And I've got nothing against the Robertson Bradley change, like that kind of made sense. With Salah, I think I would have kept him on for the duration of the 90 minutes, just purely because we know he's not going to go to the international break with Egypt. They said they won't call him up, and I think it would have been good for him to get 90 minutes under his belt. And Gakpo, for all his talents and what he can do, I think over the last kind of 6 weeks to a month, he hasn't really played that well. You see when he's on the ball, he slows down the game a little bit. Like it's not clicking for him at the minute. Like every player has this in the season. Like it happens. Yeah, the break when we're 5-on-2, he's running with the ball and his decision making is just not there. Like plays a poor ball to Elliott and the whole move just breaks down. And you think, is this going to come back to bite us? And it did. And unfortunately, it's the guy who's everyone's been kind of making fun of this season for his lack of goals and assists in the Premier League, especially. Like he's got one goal in the FA Cup already. But yeah, Anthony scores, makes it 2-2 in the 87th minute. And for that last period of the 90 minutes and added time, Man United were all over us. Like, it was a proper onslaught. And Brentford should have scored with the last touch of the 90 to wrap the game up within normal time. Didn't even have gone to the time. That's just a bit of how Rack has been over the last kind of year or so, hasn't it? So it gets to extra time, all mundane. Liverpool go 3-2 ahead, and you think, yeah, nice. They're gonna see it out. Like, it's all good. But no, to be fair, Man United were quite resilient. Like I say, I think after the sub, Liverpool were a bit flat, a bit disjointed. And I'm not going to blame like fatigue and all that. I know people saying they played X amount of games at the start of the year, but it's football, isn't it? Like, if you want to win all competitions, you've got to play the games, get through it. And then, yeah, Rashford popped up with an equaliser. And then, yeah, unfortunately, Ahmad nicks it with the last kick of the extra time. And they go on to win 4-3. So, yeah, it's a bit of a slap in the face considering how well we played in the second half of normal time. But it is what it is, man. If you don't take your chances, that's what happens. What have you guys got to say about the game?
What happened, man? That's what I'm just thinking. I'm looking at you lot's team. It doesn't look like a bad team. Doesn't look like that. I know you lot got injuries, but you should be taking care of things at Old Trafford. In my eyes, I feel like it. But maybe Quansah and who is the other guy? Is it Quansah and Kelleher? That's the only really
Yeah, so there was no Trent. So there's no Allison.
no Trent, but
No Trent. Yeah, it's fine. But I mean, in terms of like first 11, you could say there's no Allison, no Trent, no Canate. But other than that, yeah, it's fine. Like, there's only three like key players you could say we were missing. And I'm saying based on the 90 minutes, like we could have won the game. Like, and I think on another day we just kind of switched off. But you got to hats off to Man United, man. They were plucky. They stayed in it, and yeah, they got the result. It is what it happens in football, man. Like I said, you can't win every game. Hey, what you got to say?
Well, yeah, no, it was. I think it was like the great kind of cliche, the magic of the FA Cup, right? You thought United were down and out when Liverpool went ahead. They came back into it, you know. But what I liked was kind of some of the like tactical battles that were going on out there. So like one of them was for performances as well. So Wan-Bissaka being the left back to kind of man mark Salah, and you saw the benefits of that, but then you also saw the downside to it because sometimes he wasn't using his football IQ. So sometimes he was just like sticking on Salah, and that's how the first goal came about. He was just sitting on Salah rather than anticipating the danger and intercepting that ball when Quansah ran in and played it in. Endo had a good game. I think that was for me again. That was kind of partly down to Bruno. Bruno wasn't really picking him up at the right time, so Endo had a lot of time on the ball. And Mainu was suffering as a result of that because that time Mainu was either going for Sabazlai or McAllister, and he was caught in transition between the two of them. And that time they were playing it around and really eat well. But I thought the game was really good. I thought United started off really quick, and then as you saw the second part of it, the injury time, when Bruno got injured or had to go back, and Ahmad came on, like the forward midfield was just so much more aggressive in terms of hunting you down and trying to push for that equaliser. And as you saw, the win came in as well. So yeah, like I really enjoyed that FA Cup game. I thought that was like up and down. I was bantering some of my other Liverpool friends in another group, and teasing them and winding them up. But actually, I enjoyed the game in terms of at times it lacked a bit of quality, but the excitement that it brought, you know, and that's what made the FA Cup work.
Yeah, definitely. And it was quite a stretched game, like especially in the second half. It was like quite end to end. There's quite a lot of space in the midfield for both teams. Yeah, it's like a proper old school FA Cup game. I know like a lot of people have poo-pooed the FA Cup over the years, but I think this weekend has kind of shown that how much teams actually want to win the FA Cup and play for it. So yeah, I think that's good. I think despite Liverpool's kind of dominance in the game, I just want to shout out Kobbie Mainoo. I think he's been a bit of a revelation in that Man United team, and like we'll come on to England a little bit later. But just how confident he is in his ability just to Like even just drive with the ball when he's going forward, and when he's in the defensive mode, just being able to be in the right position, like to intercept passes and kind of nick in front of the opposition to get the ball off them, etc. I think he's a really really bright talent. And funny because like in pre-season, I know like I didn't watch much of Man United pre-season, but there was a lot of talk about him in pre-season, and then obviously he got injured, and a lot of Man United fans were like, "Oh, when Mainoo's fit, he's going to come into the team, etc." I was like, "Hold on, this guy hasn't even played a couple games for you yet. Like, what's all the hype about?" But yeah, he's proved me wrong. Like
Yeah.
he's come in and done really really well. What do you guys think about him?
I think today, if they had an actual DM next to him and played through him, I think you would have saw a lot more. But what we saw today was really exciting. You know, he was taking it in tight spaces, under pressure. He wasn't afraid to hold on to it and play out of danger and play the right passes. And he knew when to play the 1-2s or the first time pass, or when to hold on to it to give his player a chance to receive the pass. Really intelligent, really high football IQ, and definitely, I think a player for United to build that midfield around to get the best out of him. Because I think he's got so much more to his game. He can be a box to box and he can dictate the play. I think they got a lot in that player and to come from him as well.
So what kind of do you see him as a potential 8 then as a future role? Like what do you think that's his best position?
Yeah, I think definitely an 8, most definitely. I think if you've got the right DM next to him, I think you can get so much more out of him with him playing as an 8, box to box. Because he in forward positions, he's good on the ball as well. And in deep positions, he's good at dictating and starting the play. So I think with him as an 8 and someone next to him, I think you'll get so much more. And United will be quite aggressive or quite, what's the word I'm looking for? Will be quite a threat if they have the right DM next to him and the right midfield and a number 10 in front of him. I think you can get so much out of him.
Yeah, more on the front foot. What do you think about him, Steve?
I think he's good. I think he's really good. He's confident. Um, I think I saw he got called up to the under-21s, and I thought, yeah, that's a good look. Don't push him too far ahead yet. But I was actually thinking he could get into that England squad. He could actually get in there. The way he's playing, the way
Yeah.
he's at Man United. He's playing with top players, and he's outshining top players. He's one of their better players. So I don't see. I still think there might be a opportunity for him to go to the Euros.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. I think the performances he put in have been on par, if not better, than most of the senior internationals that he's playing with in his team week in, week out. And yeah, as I said, we'll come to the England squad later so we can kind of compare how he's doing against those that have actually been called up for the latest squad. But yeah, I think Corey got a great future, and yeah, we need to keep an eye on that. So, Hayden, you said you didn't want Liverpool to win today for whatever reason. First, do you think them getting knocked out today is more? Do you think it's going to hinder them in terms of? Do you think they might have a bit of a slump after this, or having potentially 2 less games to play in a tight title run-in might benefit them? Oh, you're on mute, bro.
Yeah, sorry. I don't see a slump in there.
No.
But I see a team having a chance against them that may upset their run. So I see a draw and a win somewhere, or defeat, should I say, in that running. Because the chances that they conceded today to United were quite a lot. And some of them was quite a basic terms of route to goal in terms of over the top. Rashford ran through, 4 times today? We never capitalised on it. But it just showed there was gaps in their defence. And I think that's been going on throughout the season where teams have had quite a lot of chances against you lot, but Alisson's been really good, Keller's been really good, and then your backline stepped in at the right time. But that's going to come up against you at one point in this running towards the end of the season, where either you're going to draw a game or you're going to lose a game, just based on the amount of chances you're giving away to the opposition.
I hear that. I hear that. Me personally, I don't think it's going to have much of an effect. I think the international break's going to do us well. We're going to get a few more players back. So Jota's due back, Trent's due back, Kanata's due back after the international break, according to Klopp in his press conference on Friday. So yeah, like we haven't lost many games this season, and yeah, I don't think it's going to have a massive knock-on effect. If it did, I'd be very, very surprised. But yeah, only time will tell. And yeah, Liverpool have got Brighton in the next round of Premier League fixtures. So 2 weeks today, to be exact. So yeah, let's wait and see. Man United, if they win this competition, is it a good season for them?
Yes. Yep.
Elaborate.
Yep. Because listen, like last season they won the Carabao Cup. So this season, if they win the FA Cup, it's an upgrade.
Progress, yeah.
Progress there. They've won a cup every season with Ten Hag in it. So
Yeah.
it will be okay. The only thing is over 38 games, you see what team they are. What the real Man United is. Over 38 games, you see it. I don't think the top 4 race is, well, it definitely isn't over.
Nope.
I don't think they're going to make it, but, well, actually, no. I don't see this kicking them on. I see them points. I see them dropping, because it's inconsistent, isn't it? I know what they're going to bring. It's going to be inconsistent.
If you take the 90 minutes as a whole, they didn't play extremely well in that 90 minutes. You're not always going to get. You're not always going to get extra time. So
there you go. So, I feel like Villa, Tottenham, United, they're going to drop points, and who knows who's going to get the top 4. They might probably sneak into 5th, and who knows, that could be a Champions League spot. But I think that Champions League spot and FA Cup is a good season for them. They're back in the big time, Champions League again, got a trophy. What can you say? I feel like they've done well, but I just think it's papering over the cracks anyway, and I don't really mind. Give Ten Hag another year. It's all good for me. I don't mind. It's cool.
So yeah, that's what I was going to ask Adrian. Actually, I was going to say if they don't get top 4, so let's say they finish 6th and they win the FA Cup, is that papering over the cracks for a kind of disappointing season?
Yes. But what's going to be interesting now with the appointment of Ratcliffe and new sporting director of football, what is that going to give, or what energy is that going to give Ten Hag? A bit of direction. Because, like I said, when I've watched him, he's done a lot of good things tactically at times, but he doesn't seem to stick with it. So, like I said, he played a counter-attacking football against Man City and said, "Oh, I'm going to have all 11 behind the ball and we're going to try to hit you on the counter-attack." But we saw that never clearly worked. It was really bad for them. Today they said, all right, we're going to go a bit toe-for-toe with Liverpool. We're going to play the 4-2-3-1 formation, and let's see what yields. And they were brave. They were brave in tight spots. They played out from the back, and they got some chances or some moments down the left against you lot, or their left, should I say. You're right. And so there's something there. And I think with the director of football and the sporting director, I think they might kind of curb some of it and bring in actual good signings that helps and propels them on to be a good top 4 contender. So
they can't let him pick the signings anymore.
No, they can't, because it's
I don't think they will.
Yeah,
I think that's over with. They can't let him pick them.
No, definitely not. But I think tactically, he has some good ideas and he just doesn't stick with them sometimes. But once someone else steps in and gives him the signings, I think something else might happen.
But wait, so do you think he's that good, for them to actually say, all right, cool, you're not going to pick the signings, we're going to pick the signings, we're going to sign another 200 million worth of players, and you're the right coach to guide them to the Premier League title or the Champions League or whatever? Because I don't see him as a top coach either.
But for me, is it about the transition? So is it transitioning them back into a top 4 team and a title contending team? I think he's good enough for that, to get them back into the top 4.
But they're doing that. They're doing that now.
But it's this they're scrapping. They're kind of stretching for it. They're not actually quality football, consistent football. It's about a bit of luck and a bit of like a good bit of form here and there that gets them into it. A purple patch. Where actually, I think with better signings and a bit of guidance, I think he can build up a consistent team that's able to get the results week in, week out, and be quite hard to defeat. Because right now we don't know what Man United we're getting each week.
If you had a decision to make right now, yeah, if you said, look, we've got this amount of money to spend in the summer, X amount, it doesn't matter, yeah, but either we keep Ten Hag or bring in Emery, what would you do?
Ooh, that's you know what? Go on.
There's no comparison to me. You can't compare the two. Like Emery's he's a bad boy coach. Like that's the person that you put. Like that's the type of people that you say, all right, cool. Give him some players. He's gonna do something. He's gonna instill something on that training pitch for them to do in the games, and that you're gonna see his influence on them. I don't see nothing that Ten Hag's done since he's been there, and he's poorly on top.
Yeah, I hear that. But with Emery, like I think Emery is a far better coach than Ten Hag. I think we can all agree on that. But I don't think Emery's the coach to take you to that elite level competing with. Because you're going to be next season, you're going to be competing with Pep and Arteta and hopefully whoever Liverpool appoint. I don't think Arteta's that guy to take Man United to that level. I think he's a better coach than Ten Hag, and I think he can consistently have them in the top 4. I think he'd be that kind of manager with the odd cup here and there, but I don't think he'll be a title challenger.
I was saying that just to say, like what you lot were saying, like the heads, the people up top, they're gonna be thinking now, what should we do with Ten Hag, innit? Are we gonna give him time and give him more players, or do we believe in what he's doing, or do we look at and find someone better, an actual better coach, and move forward? So not necessarily Emery. That was just a better coach that's actually shown somewhere else, or even in the Premier League, that they're a better coach, hands down.
But I think, and I think you've got to look at the context, the story, the circumstances behind it. So with Emery, I think he's a very good underdog manager. Like a team that is not expected to do really well, he punches above it. Like you've seen him do it with Villarreal, etc., etc. When he came to PSG fans weren't overly happy with the style of football that he was trying to play. He came to Arsenal. Admittedly, Arsenal fans had unrealistic expectations of the squad that he inherited. But again, it was over tactical, over tweaking, over changing. And I think that went against him. I think with Aston Villa, that works really well for him. And the fans don't have that expectation of him. But with Erik ten Hag, when I look at him, there's certain things that he's done really well. Like Martinez has been quite good when he's had him. But I think he just deviates from the game plan. And then he looks lost. So like, all right, you're going to play out from the back. But because Martinez is not there no more, you stop playing out from the back. You know, all right, we're going to do it this game, then we're going to go counter-attacking. But there's little things that he's done that shows me that actually, if he gets the right guidance behind him, he can build up quite a solid squad with a good foundation, tactical foundation for a new manager to take over from. And I think that's really important. So, like, when you look at he's improved Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw's look a lot better under him. You've seen Luke Shaw play centre back, left back, and centre mid sometimes.
I don't think he's improved him. I think Luke Shaw's been what he is. He's good. I've never heard anyone say that Luke Shaw's dead. He's just been injured, or he's in and out of the team. He's a good player.
I'm not saying he's not, but what I've seen from him, I've seen another side of Luke Shaw's game that I never saw before, because I just saw him as a conventional left back when he was playing. Now I've seen there's a little bit more.
So you mean when you see him as centre back?
I've seen it in the centre back position, but also coming in as the inverted fullback. He's done some little things like that. I think with a better squad, I think there's a little bit more from him. But I feel he's there as a stepping stone to get United back to where they were, rather than he's the answer.
So how long do you give him then?
I'll give him, with their signings or new signings, I'll give him this season, or next season, should I say. And then if that goes really well, then another season. But I think next season is the deciding season for what he's about and if he's still worth sticking with.
Yeah, that's the make or break. I think they might even have discussions about what to do this summer, just based on the performances that they've had. And like, granted, their squad is not amazing, but as I said, they've got a lot of first team internationals in their squad and first 11, so they could be doing better. If they do decide to keep him, I think he will need to hit the ground running next season. I don't think he can be as inconsistent as he has been this season, or he's out the door by Christmas. Certainly wouldn't make it till the end of the season if they've got a ready-made replacement lined up for them. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens there. And yeah, just some kind of appointments at like the board level. Liverpool have appointed Michael Edwards, or not Liverpool, Fenway Sports Group have appointed Michael Edwards as CEO of football. So he's coming back to have some hand in Liverpool going forward. He was pretty instrumental in quite a few signings and sales over Liverpool during Klopp's tenure. So yeah, a lot of fans are happy that he's back, and yeah, he's doing some good work already. So looks like Liverpool might be in good hands next season if they get the right manager on board. So yeah, that's one FA Cup game out of the way. Let's go to another one of so you could call it a bit of a classic FA Cup game now. So yesterday it was Wolves v Coventry at Wolves, a bit of a Midlands derby. And did any of you guys see this game?
Caught some of it.
Some of it as well, just some of it.
Yeah, so no goals in the first half, but Coventry made a really good account of themselves, considering being the away team, a championship team against Wolves, who everyone has said did relatively well this season in the Premier League. And yeah, Sims opened the scoring in the 53rd minute. Went to VAR for, I think it was 4.5 minutes to decide if it was a handball or not, which is far too long. Don't want to get into a VAR chat, but there's been some speak saying that if VAR can't make a decision within 90 seconds to 2 minutes, they should just go with the on-field decision. Don't know how you guys feel about that, but yeah, I'm not too upset about that if that happened. But yeah, so yeah, Coventry go 1-0 up, and then Wolves equalise, don't they?
Yeah.
Who's that guy? Bremer.
Yeah, sorry.
Or Eight Nori. One of them.
Who was it? Yeah, Eight Nori in the 83rd minute. Sorry, lost my screen there. Yeah, Eight Nori, and yeah, quite a good goal actually. Like a bit of a scramble in the box, but yeah, it was a good finish. And then 5 minutes later, Bueno makes it 2-1.
Yeah.
And everyone thinks, heartbreak for Coventry. You know, game's over. Wolves doing what they should do, being a Premiership team. But yeah, it doesn't end there. So I think there was 10 minutes put up on the board, 9 or 10 minutes put up on the board, and then yeah, Sims scores his second of the game in the 97th minute, and you think, right, fair result. Coventry get a draw after all their hard performance and play in the game. But no, right, the American pops up in 90 plus 10 and nicks the winner.
Yeah.
Sends Coventry through to the semi-final of the FA Cup.
That was a good
Crazy.
finish.
Yeah,
that finish was really good by Ryan.
It was. Yeah, really good. So, do you think this is a bit of an opportunity missed for Gary O'Neill? Because we've said how well he's done this season. Got Wolves playing really well. I think they're 8th or 9th in the league. I need to check that. I think they would have really liked to play out at Wembley in his first season, and this is the perfect opportunity playing a championship team. What do you think? What do you think went wrong? Were just Coventry too up for it? Were Wolves too complacent? What was your take on it?
I'll go with the latter. Wolves were complacent. I think from what I was, and I think it's a hard thing for Gary O'Neill because they're hot and cold. Like there's games you'd be like, what they've given Man City a real good game or whoever, a real tough opposition that you think they're going to struggle against, and then a team that you think they're going to defeat and like overpower them and control the game, they struggle against those teams. And when I was watching the game, it looked like the players just couldn't get themselves up for the game, like motivate themselves for the game until they made some little tactical changes that kind of pushed it in their favour, you know. But they got, I think it is a missed opportunity, but I think he's overachieved. I think he's done really well. I don't think any Wolves fan should be upset based on Coventry knocking them out. You know, I think it was just one of those days. Like no one saw it. They came back, they got the lead, and then Sims and Wright got scored the equaliser and won the game.
Yeah, I think the fact that they were 2-1 up so deep into added time, I think they might be kicking themselves that they never saw it over the line. They were like chance of play Sarah were going to Wembley, etc., coming from the section, which is understandable. You think the game's done, innit? Or at least you're going to go back to Coventry's stadium for a replay. So to lose it, yeah, it's pretty harsh. And yeah, I agree. I think it is an opportunity missed for Wolves. They could have done with a nice day out down at Wembley. What does Gary O'Neill do now? Does he just try and finish as high as possible in the league? Like they're ninth in the league. They are.
Complain, man. They can't.
Are you saying that because it's Wolves though? Like
I'm saying, yeah, it's Wolves. It's where they come from. Gary O'Neill coming, steadied the ship. They got knocked out, like you said. You know, it happens. It's football. It happens. Like it was a bit of a mad one, but when was they ever going to get to a semi-final with FA Cup before that? It wasn't. So
and they got an outside chance of Europe over there as well.
They should just
So as I was going to say, they're ninth in the league. They're 3 points behind West Ham, who are in seventh, and they've got a game in hand over West Ham as well with a better goal difference.
Yeah.
So yeah, it depends on how teams above them perform in Europe. So 6th and 7th might even be European places. If Man City win the Champions League, Liverpool win the Europa League, and Aston Villa win the Conference League, all those places could get knocked down, innit? So yeah, I think they've just got to try and pick up as many points as they can in the last 10 games.
Yeah.
Coventry, their fans will be buzzing. Trip down to Wembley. They've got
final, innit? That's their final.
Yeah, Man United in the semi-final, and you've seen that you can get at Man United. I'm not saying that Coventry are going to win. Like Man United are going to be heavy favourites, but I think they've got to go down there with the belief that they can win the game, and just take it to them, basically. Did you see the incident with Mark Robbins, the manager, with the winner?
No. What happened?
So he's getting a bit of stick from one of the ball boys during the game, and then when Coventry scored their winner, he went and celebrated in the face of the ball boy. So yeah, he came out and apologised and said that the emotions got the best of him. But you know what football's become like of late, innit? Like it's become a little bit PC, and you've got to do the right thing. They don't really give you an excuse for.
As long as you're bored, give him it back, innit? Why not?
Yes, it's fair game, innit? Like it should be fair game. But Gary O'Neill came out and said it was a bit unprofessional, etc. So but I'm aware for it, man. If it's heat in a moment, like you say, as long as you don't cross the line, it's fine. Like it shouldn't be much of an issue. But well done, Coventry. Another one of today's games that we'll go to. Chelsea 4, Leicester 2. Leicester can feel a little bit hard done by today. So for those of you that didn't catch the game, Chelsea went 1-0 up. Cucurella scored, assisted by Jackson. And then not long after that, midway through the first half, Chelsea get a penalty. And the bit of contention here was that Palmer picked up the ball to take it. He scored quite a few penalties for Chelsea already this season, so you would have thought he would have taken it. But Sterling, being the what's the word I'm looking for? The elder in the team, I would say.
Yeah, the senior.
Kind of pulled rank. Yeah, the senior man pulled rank, took the ball off him. And anyone who knows Sterling and penalties know that he ain't that great.
Yeah.
And to be fair, for a pro, his ball striking is not amazing, to be honest. So yeah, you wouldn't be surprised that he missed a penalty. And then shortly after that, he missed a one-on-one that you thought you would have put in the back of the net. But he made an amends, made an assist for Palmer in added time in the first half. So Chelsea go into the half-time break 2-0 up. And then, yeah, the start of the second half, there's what you can only call comical own goal from Diassi. I don't know whether he just kind of didn't know where his goalkeeper was or just hit it too hard. But yeah, he passed it into his own net from about 30 yards.
Yeah.
Would you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy. And then at this point, Leicester are the dominant team. Like they're really getting at Chelsea, a bit like Leeds did in the last round. Yeah, deservedly so. They get an equaliser. Mavididi sent Gusto to the shops. I really like Gusto. I think Gusto's had a really good season so far. But yeah, those step overs, he couldn't handle it. Like he went left, Mavididi went right, and that was it. Curled it past the goalkeeper. Really good finish. And at this point, you think, right, Leicester could actually go on and nip something here. Like they've been playing really well in the Championship. Granted, the last kind of month or so they haven't been as high flying as what they have been, but they've done a really good account for themselves in the league. But yeah, Doyle gets sent off for a hold on Nicholas Jackson. So initially a penalty was given, a yellow card, but after VAR review, turns out it was outside of the box, not a penalty. So he gets sent off because if it's inside the box, you shouldn't be done for double jeopardy. And I thought what was funny was the free kick that Sterling took following this incident. One of the worst free kicks I've seen. And yeah, I think at the end of the season we need to kind of have a conversation about his tenure at Chelsea, because he started the season off really well. I think for the first month he did really well, but it's kind of turned off. So yeah, I think
the fans weren't happy. The fans weren't happy.
No, they weren't. They were booing, and even when Mudryk got taken off for Chukwuemeka, they were booing that and saying that
he should
have been the one that was taken off. But yeah, Leicester done well to hold out until added time. But yeah, 2 late goals from Chukwuemeka and Madueke made it 4-2, and Chelsea into the semi-final of the cup, where we know they're going to be playing Man City in the next round. So on that performance, are we still saying that Poch has got a lot of work to do?
It's a lot of work. They're just frustrating. Technically, the players can play football, technically. But it's just like just going through the motion on the pitch. Like, all right, I pass to left, I go back inside, go back out to the right. There's no intensity. There's no real purpose in their attacks and when they're playing. And I think that's why teams are having actually a good game against them or a good run against them. Because as long as they step up their intensity and their aggression against Chelsea, they're going to get chances. They're going to score goals. And I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what he's trying to achieve with them out there whatsoever. I think he's where he is based on quality rather than actual any tactical kind of nous that's got them there. But then you look at the quality, and the quality is not excellent either. They're just this middle of the road team. I don't know. They don't have a purpose right now in watching them.
Yeah, there's not many times I've watched Chelsea and seen kind of in-game management from Poch okay, like he tweak things, etc. Like there've been occasions where they played really well. So cup final against Liverpool, they played pretty well. 2 games against Manchester City, they played pretty well. Again, there's nothing. It's a bit like Ten Hag, isn't it? If you said what is Pochettino's style of play, I think most people wouldn't be able to answer you. I think most people within Chelsea wouldn't be able to answer you either.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's always going to be a conversation about what he does next, what Bowley and the Chelsea hierarchy do next, because it's evident that they need more players, which is bizarre considering how much players they've signed and how much money they've spent. And do they trust him to buy the players that he wants? Like we said, it's been a bit of a committee buying the players for Chelsea, like stocking for the future. They need some players for now. I guess they've done that with Sterling, right, last season, but he didn't have the tools around him. I guess Palmer is one for now. Like he can play at any level, decent player. But yeah, they need a little bit more around those kind of key players to push on. And again, I wouldn't say is it papering the cracks if they win the FA Cup, Chelsea, but is this something they need to kind of push on?
I think. Go on, because
He's shaking his head.
Bro, do you know why? Yeah, I look at this team, yeah, and I think, like, I don't get it. I think everyone's saying, "Oh, it ain't Poch," but if you can't get a group of young players to run around with intensity, at least, run for each other, like. I don't know. Then what are you doing every day? Because we know they can play football. They're professional footballers. Like, we get it. We know we've actually seen some of them play elsewhere, do amazing stuff. So they can play. Okay, we get it that there's a lot of new players there, and it's going to take time to gel. That's fine. But what about the intensity? What about the running for each other? What about the fighting for just being a team? There's none of that there. So it just looks weird. And then we're saying, okay, so now he needs new players now. That's madness. He shouldn't be able to sign any more players. Chelsea should not be signing any more players. That's it for them. That should be it.
Crazy.
And then they're talking about their number one person that they're going to be selling is Conor Gallagher, because of the whole FFP, and he come through the academy and whatever. He's the only one that does run.
Yeah.
He's. And the thing is, like, I know he's got a lot of plaudits this season, but I still think they could upgrade.
Definitely.
Like, if you look at Chelsea's team, so the team they put out today, they have Sanchez in goal, who is not very good. I'm surprised they signed him, but they needed a goalkeeper. I think Petrovic has done okay when he's played, but I think they need to upgrade on that position. Like at left back, it's between Cucurella and Chilwell. Chilwell's always injured. Cucurella hasn't set the world alight since he's been there. At right back, it's Gusto or James. Again, James always injured. Gusto, I think he'll be a really good player. I think he'll go on and have a decent career. I still think they need 2 new centre backs. They played Calabar and Disassi today, but again, if you go to their reserves, it's Colwill. Colwill's good, but they haven't been playing him at centre back. Fofana's injured. We don't know when he's back, and it's Silva. So they at least need one top class centre back to come in and play from the back.
Where's Badiashile or whatever his name is?
I don't think he's that good either, to be honest. Like, that could just be me being harsh. Like, he was a sub today.
I think a lot of these players a lot of these players that you're gonna mention or that they've signed anyway, I don't think we're gonna see them be good because of the environment they're in.
Yeah.
You mean good at Chelsea or have good careers?
Good at Chelsea. So we're gonna judge them. Obviously, we're just gonna judge them of how they play now, and they're just gonna look like dead players. But I guarantee, put like a Gusto in. Well, Gusto's played well, so I can't even say Gusto, but maybe even a Disasi, a Badiashile. Put him in a Liverpool team or an Arsenal team or somewhere. He'll
Milan.
probably do decent. He'll probably be okay.
Yeah.
They'll probably be all right.
Yeah.
But not there, not right now. It's not gonna happen.
It's like
Yeah. And the thing is, like,
there's like
yeah,
a
go on, Nathan.
So, like, when I look at it, there seems to be like a culture and environment issue there. Like, where, like what Terrell's describing, there's no intensity in there when they're running out there. No one's really running with purpose. And the one guy that is, they look to sell him because he's the most profitable player in terms of what they can sell and make back on him. But he's not levels either. So then, but, like, I agree with you, Terrell. If you go to another team with structure that demands intensity, you'll see better performance from those individuals.
That's what happens when you give players 10-year contracts and they ain't even done anything yet. They're done. That contract is them. They're cool.
Yeah, they're set.
Because regardless of what happens, they have to get paid out of that contract.
Yeah.
So whether they stay or leave, they're good. That contract is a madness.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're laughing.
Yeah, because realistically, it's 3 years or whatever, 3 years, and you have to work for that next contract or work at least enough to get a next move somewhere to get another 3-year contract.
Yeah.
You don't need to do any work.
And I'm sure there's some wage increases within that contract. So after like 3 years, you get a wage increase because you're not negotiating a contract every 3 years. I'm sure there's like a little 5% increase, etc. Like, yeah. So like you say, they're laughing. And yeah, Jackson, I mean, he scored a few goals. Like, to be fair, he scored more goals than I thought he would this season. But he's not a number 9 that's going to take you to the higher echelons of football. Sterling has been indifferent. Palmer's the only guy who really kind of made a name for himself. And if Chelsea continue the way they are and he continues the way he is, he'll need to go to another team soon. Like, I don't know if Man City have got a buyback clause in him, but yeah, I can't see him staying there much longer if they don't kick on.
And you know what's sad about, like, when I look at the performance today, and it's, even though they won, it's like that performance today justified what Tim Sherwood said to Cole Palmer. Even though it was out of order, it was out of order. But it's like no one can.
So, for a bit of context, do you want to say, like, just do a little summary of what
if
Sherwood said to Palmer?
Like, wait, they had the interview after the game, and he pulled him aside and basically just said, "Look, your team's not good enough, and they need to build a team around you." And don't worry, in the summer they should sort that out. And I'm like, and then Palmer was just like, yeah, you know, everyone's worked hard and they're giving 100% out there. Like, he responded really well to it. And I'm not saying what Tim Sherwood said wasn't right, but it justifies what he said now. Like, he looks vindicated in what he said because no one could argue against that. You're struggling to beat Leicester, and when you're looking at what your squad costs to what Leicester squads cost, like, it's chalk and cheese.
Yeah, no.
And that's,
I agree. And everyone thought what Tim Sherwood said was a bit cheeky. I think maybe he shouldn't have said it on air as he did. And he also said, it's like, oh, you can't say it, but I'll say it for you, as if insinuating Palmer thinks that, which is a little bit wrong. But Chelsea have got a lot of work to do I think, on the boardroom level and on kind of the pitch level about how they go forward. Because it's just, the inconsistency needs to stop if they want to be back challenging. And considering how much money they have and have spent, they should be doing a little bit better. But if they do get an FA Cup this season, it's a good season for them, isn't it? Like, Poch got his first English trophy, and they'll get into Europe because it doesn't look like they're getting into Europe via the league positions. So, let's see how that goes.
Yeah.
Right, final FA Cup tie was on Saturday afternoon. Man City v Newcastle. Man City 2, Newcastle 0. This was pretty run of the mill, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Done. Go to the semi-final, basically.
Yeah, and I think if you look at the lineups, like Man City were pretty standard. You know, they can play Silva if KDB doesn't play. Still got Foden, Doku, Rodri, etc. But yeah, Newcastle had to go to. I don't want to say they went to a back five. They tried to play wing backs, and I know John always slates me because I'm on Dan Burn's case. But they had Dan Burn playing left wing back in it.
You
Like,
can't play wing back, bro.
come on, like he's just about capable as a left back in it. Like playing wing back, yeah, mad. And then Murphy was playing right wing back, and then Lascelles was drafted back into the team to play alongside Shaw and Botman. So they kind of tried to be compact at the back and not give Man City space, but it didn't work. Like Man City just had the ball from the start of the game. Like I know Isak had a couple of chances in the first half, like half chances, etc. But other than that, I don't really remember much from Newcastle. What do you guys think about the game?
It's easy business, man. Nothing much to say. Like I don't know. I was looking at City's team, yeah, and I was thinking, all right, they got their team's sick, innit? We all know their team's proper. But then I was looking at the bench, thinking, what have they got to bring on? Alvarez and Grealish. That's it. Grealish don't really do anything when he comes on. It looks like when he comes on, doesn't really do anything. Alvarez, he's a brilliant player, but it's just like their team is like a whole system, like a robotic team. Like anyone they put in, it does the exact same thing that the other person was doing. Like it's like they just know how to beat teams very easily.
Yeah, well, yeah, we all know Pep is a system player in it, and everyone buys into it. And if you don't buy into it, you get kicked out. But yeah, if you look at their bit, they had Stones on the bench, Nunes, big money signing, Lewis, who's played well this season, Grealish, £100 million player, Scott Carson, who's still nicking a living, and okay, so their bench wasn't bad. Like Man City have just got all the riches in it. Like that's what they can do. So yeah, pretty straightforward for Man City. I'm glad they're still in it because it's a game for them in the title race. So that helps, or hopefully that will help Liverpool at some point. Like to think. Newcastle getting a bit tetchy for old Eddie Howe. Like I think we're all in agreement that they overachieved last season. Like nobody expected them to get in the Champions League. They had a decent account for themselves in the Champions League this season. Like if it wasn't for some dodgy officiating in Paris, they would have got through to the knockout stage. But they're 10th in the league now. They've got games in hand over a couple of people, only West Ham above them, to be honest. 40 points. So Wolves are 41 points, Brighton 42 points, West Ham 44 points. What's good? What league position is good for Eddie Howe now? For the Newcastle owners to say, we're not going to get rid of you in the summer. I still think he should go in the summer.
Places. He has to get back into Europe.
Yeah,
I believe like he has to get back into Europe. Yeah,
so no Europe, get rid of him.
Yeah, you overachieved last season. That's cool. Champions League, that's a big deal. But you still have to be in a European competition.
And we know that Newcastle are not really in line with FFP as well. So any additional European money would benefit them.
Yeah.
And there's been rumours that they need to sell or buy in the summer. So yeah, just having a look at their fixtures. They're playing a few of the teams around them back end of the season. So their next game is against West Ham. So if they beat West Ham, they close the gap down to 1 point. They've got to play Fulham. They've got Tottenham at home and Man United away. You could say they're the two hardest games left. And then after that, it's Sheffield United, Burnley. You would think that they would pick up points there. And they finish off with Brighton at home and Brentford away. So, yeah, I think Eddie Howe has got a kind of... I know he's had a lot of injuries this season, like a lot of teams have, but there have been a lot of conversations about Newcastle injuries. I think that he needs some big performances to keep his job, I believe. What do you think, Adrian?
No, definitely. I think the purple patch is over. The momentum's over for him now. Where before, I think they were riding on the momentum train that got them into Europe, that got them from relegation up into the top half of the table, then into Europe the following season. And I think this is where a manager's meant to earn his money in terms of, all right, I've got some injuries. How am I setting up my team tactically to earn these points, or how we're going to be hard to break down? And they look like the Newcastle of 2 seasons ago. You know, there's lots of spaces in the midfield for opposition to transition into. The defense is not being as tight as they were. Remember, they had a good defensive record last season. Now they're just leaking goals left, right, and centre. And then you're doing the thing, all right, we're going to go 5 at the back. And the only good thing I'll say for him at the moment, which may make him keep his job, is that the players are still running for him. Like, Gordon's running for him. Gomeres is running for him still. The fullbacks are running for him still, and etc. etc. So there's some signs that the squad, he's still got the squad. But the issue is then what you're saying is the FFP. If this is true, what they've built up, how do they add to that? And if they got to get rid of sell some players, then where are they going to realistically be, you know, for the next season? You know, they need another 2 strikers because Callum Wilson can't stay fit. Even though Isak's got a lot of potential and he showed his quality, again, he can't stay fit. So what are you building around? Who are you building upon? You know, and that's going to be the challenge for him. I think if the season could end now, I think he would take it. If the season could end now, knowing that he could stay, he would take it, because there's nothing. I just see it getting worse personally towards the end of the season. I see them losing another 3-4 games. You know.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's where the inconsistency comes into play. Like, they can have a good result, but like a few other teams in the Premier League have 1 or 2 good results, and then they can have 2 or 3 bad results. And that's not what you want at this point of the season, especially when your only real chance of getting into Europe was the FA Cup. Didn't really put up a glove on Man City. Like, second half was a bit of a stroll.
Yeah.
So just to have a quick word on Haaland. Doesn't seem to, like, I think he might still be top goal scorer in the Premier League and has still scored a lot of goals this season. But do you think he's been found out a bit, or do you think Pep's changed his team? Like, what do you think? Why do you think he's not hitting the numbers that he hit last year? And then so even last season, because I remember having conversations with the guys on the pod, that he wouldn't be in games but still pop up with the odd goal, etc. What's happening now, there's more games where he's not really involved as much, and he's not scoring more times this season than he did last season. Like, what do you think that is happening for Haaland?
I think he's been maybe a bit figured out now. I think they've realised he's not the. I don't know, because it's weird, because he's not a, what's it called? He's not a baller. He's one of them. He's a lethal, deadly finisher. Like, he's gonna get on, if he gets a sniff of anything, it's a goal. It's done. So I feel like they've definitely paid more attention to him in that aspect. Maybe not followed him around that much, because they know he's not going to do anything. He's not going to get involved as much in the game of the build up and that. But they're just probably anticipating on his movement, his runs, where he goes, and blah blah blah. But not like just thinking that he's gonna get involved or do anything. Even if he does drop in, they know he's probably just gonna set the ball and spin and run behind.
Run into the box.
Yeah, that's it. They know what he's kind of gonna do. So maybe they've just paid more attention to that and the spaces around him more than like paying attention to him as a baller or getting involved and stuff like that. Maybe KDB hasn't been there that much as well. Maybe that has something to do with it, because regardless, KDB is going to put it on his foot. You can do what you want, but he's going to put it on his foot or his head.
And he had been injured for a bit. Like, he was injured over the Christmas period. He might just be taking a while to get back up to speed following that injury.
Doesn't matter what we say, regardless. Anyway, he still gets about 30-something goals a season anyway, so it doesn't even matter. It doesn't actually matter. It's 50, 60, 30-something. It doesn't matter.
I think
But
Yeah,
I feel like what we used to say last season as well, when he was banging in the goals, when he doesn't score, it's like he does absolutely nothing for the team.
yeah. So it's interesting you mentioned the baller point because I'm in a group that with quite Rarian fans, and a non-Liverpool fan said that Nunes is actually a better footballer than Haaland. Haaland is just a finisher. What is your guys' take on that?
I can see why he says that. I think what you get with Nunes is because he's doing it at 100 miles per hour. Sometimes it's not coming off all the time. But actually, when you look at the movement, his touch, how he takes on players, I can see why a fan would say he's a better footballer than Haaland. I think the other thing for Haaland and Man City is like they've become a little bit more predictable, and that's based upon who they've sold, which is Mahrez, Gundogan, and then they're not been using Jack Grealish as much, and there's been a bit of injuries as part of that as well. So then,
Yeah,
at the moment, their goal threat has become one-dimensional. Like we know it's either coming from Haaland and Foden, and I'm not saying they don't get enough goals, they do. But where before you had Mahrez chipping in, you had Grealish with his few goals chipping in, but then you had Gundogan chipping in as well. Now they haven't really got a midfielder that's replaced Gundogan at all in terms of how he drives into the box or space that he picks up to get those goals or to create a goal. You know,
yeah,
so I think it's something that Pep's going to go back to the drawing board because when you look at the bench, there wasn't many attacking threats to come off the bench apart from Grealish and Lewis.
yeah.
And Lewis is kind of a utility player. He can play fullback, in the middle, or wide. But he's not an out-and-out direct attacker. And I think that's something that they're going to work on to try and solve next season. I think Docker's had a good season so far. Like, it's been decent. But then they need some other options. Because when you look at that bench, you're like, well, where's the other threat, So there's some repairing.
And
He's not.
on Doku, sorry, go on, Pete.
On.
No, I'll just say on Doku, it's interesting the kind of there's been a slight shift in his perception since he came in at the start of the season. So like when he first kind of came on to the scene, it was like, yeah, Doku really exciting. He could have caused like a world of trouble, etc. Now it's kind of he's got that excitement, but he's a bit messy with it, innit? Like he hasn't got to finish that like the final pass or that little finesse to put the ball in the back of the net. You can still see he's got a raw element about him, and I think he needs to hone on that over the summer to kind of get to the level where I think he could be because he's an exciting player to watch.
I think him, even Diaz, Nunes, they've all got that natural talent, which, like your guy said, is the better ballers. Really, naturally, they're better ballers than a Haaland. But it's like it's like they need to slow down their brain, not their bodies, their brain. Slow down. Because you're gonna go at 100 miles per hour. If you know you're gonna go at 100 miles per hour, you're 1-on-1 with a player, you're gonna go at them. But you need to think sometimes. They get that part of the game down because, like, playing against like what we said, a Dan Burn or something, like Doku or Diaz or Nunes or whatever, they can have him on toast easily. But it's the what do you do after, or what do you do when you have beat him, or what do you do? Like, it's just that slowing down of the brain that will help them get over the line in terms of goals, assists, and stuff like that. I
agree. I think those players that you group together, they all fall in that same kind of category. It's just like the brain thinks they want to do something, so it sends a signal to the foot straight away without processing whether it's the right thing, innit?
Yeah.
It's just like, like what they say with toddlers, innit?
We're gonna
toddlers
go,
don't think.
but then not thinking. Okay, when we get right, what do we do now? It's just let's get right, and then you've gone there, you haven't looked up, you whatever, and it's like what we was even saying about Sterling, about his striking and stuff like that. That's because he doesn't slow down. Like a little bit in his brain, like set yourself, slow down, compose yourself. Now what do you do? you're always shooting and crossing and whatever when you're at 100 miles per hour and off balance. Of course, it's just going to go. That's just normal. But you can't lose the rawness. You have to keep, but you just have to train the mind to just be like,
slow down.
And I think Haaland has that. Even though we see him, he looks like he bloody rosses every shot that he has, but he has
composed with it.
Composure. Yeah, he has that composure. But yeah, well, not everyone can have everything. I think Diaz would be one of the best players in the league if he had that bit of composure.
Yeah, no, I agree. So yeah, Man City move on to the semi-finals where they'll play Chelsea, and yeah, Man United will play Coventry for a place in the final of the FA Cup. So yeah, which I've got no interest in it anymore. So it is what it is. What it is. Right, move on to Premier League fixtures this weekend. Only 4 of them because of the FA Cup action. Only one place to start. Craven Cottage, Fulham 3, Tottenham 0. I'm annoyed because I thought Tottenham would do something here, and I made my fancy team very Tottenham heavy and got minimal points. So I'm slightly annoyed here. So I missed the first 20 minutes because I was watching the Man City Newcastle game, but I turned over to see Nunes score, and yeah, he's been in really good form. Like I don't know much about him. I'm not going to lie, but yeah, I think he scored maybe five in 6 games, and yeah, he's doing really really well. So yeah, Fulham go 1-0 up, 1-0 up at half time, and then second half, quick goal. Lukic scores, goes 2-0 up, and then again Muniz scores, makes it 3-0 after an hour. And then they have another goal go in, Perlinia, but it's ruled off for offside. This was a chance for Tottenham to kind of show where they're at. Like, there's been a lot of furore over Tottenham and Ange this season, and yeah, they just didn't turn up yesterday. What do you guys make of it?
Looked like a routine win for Fulham. Like, it didn't look like Tottenham was up for it, and yeah, it's looking a bit like every season before. Spurs, this is what they do. Spursy, this is what they do. But this is what I'm saying. They fought, Big Ange, and they were celebrating. They was on the pitch with their kids and stuff at the start of the season when they beat teams, and cheering, going around their lovely stadium and stuff like that. But same old Spurs, man.
Yeah. And I think going into this game after beating Aston Villa so convincingly at Villa Park, I think they would have had real high confidence going into this game, being like, right, we can get a result here. Like, look, we look what we've done against our top 4 rivals. Let's go to Fulham and give them a go. When it's just a case of Fulham being too good, Adrian.
I don't think it was a case of Fulham being. No, I think Fulham executed a very good tactical plan. And exploited spaces that's always been there for everyone to exploit throughout the season. Because if you remember last week when we spoke about Villa versus Tottenham, even though Villa was down to 10 men, Villa had chances to make it a draw.
Yeah.
You understand? And remember, even when he was playing Chelsea and they lost 4-0, was it 4-0 or 4-1? And they went down to 9 men or something like that.
Yeah, 4-1.
He said, I'm not gonna kind of plug the gap. I'm still playing the same football. So then that's how Chelsea got the extra 2 or 3 goals in that game when they went down to 9 men. So, yes, Fulham were good, but I think they executed their game plan really well. And as a result of that, Tottenham got exposed. And when you look at the Tottenham squad actually is not that great. However, what Andrew's doing over, I'm going to bring in Eric Ten Hag, is he's playing the same game plan no matter who's there. So even though we look at Ben Davies, that we know Ben Davies ain't good enough, but he's still saying we're playing the same way. We're going to play the same way until I get the replacement for Ben Davies, because everyone's going to be used to that style of play. So Tottenham's got gaps in them. I weren't surprised. I think they are a bit Jekyll and Hyde in terms of what you're going to get from them, because there's still a lot of quality that's lacking in that squad. You know, even if you look at the front line, apart from Son, the rest of the front lines, I think they're squad players for the top 4 teams. I don't think they're actual starters.
Yeah, definitely. And I think they missed Van de Ven yesterday. Like whenever he hasn't been in the starting lineup, they've been a bit shaky. And that guy they signed, I think they might have signed him in the summer, but not sorry, in January. Dragusin. Yeah, he doesn't look like he's ready yet. Like you've got some players like Van de Ven who come in, he can show I can play football in it. Like this is what I do. Like, I think he might take a few games, maybe even into next season before he kind of warms up and gets to level. But they had a decent team out. Like Porro played, Basuma, Sarr, Madison. That's their starting midfield.
Yeah.
We spoke about Johnson last week. He missed a really good chance yesterday, as did Werner. So Kulusevski, Son, Johnson up front. So bar Van de Ven, you could pretty much say that was their first 11. Maybe swap out Werner and Johnson. That was their first 11.
Yeah.
I think the results surprised me. Like Fulham have been okay this season. Like we played them in the second leg of the League Cup round, and they played really well. To be fair, the 3 times that we played them this season, they played really well and could have got something out of every game. So Fulham are not a bad team, and in the Premiership these days, man, you've got to take your chances. Like when you get an opportunity, you've just got to take it. Aside from Muniz, I think Robinson played well too. So go on, David.
So I think Silva's doing a very good job down there as well. Like in terms of how he's setting them up tactically with what he's got, you know. And you said we dropped points to them at Emirates, didn't we? At the start of the season, Arsenal dropped.
Start of the season you did, yeah.
Yeah, and they've been quite a tough team for a lot of teams to beat or get a result against them. So I think with a few signings, they could be pushing on to be like solid, a solid top 10 team, you know. But we'll see.
Sorry about going back, but this goes back to the Erik ten Hag thing again. With all the lower kind of mid-table kind of teams and stuff, we see the managers actually with a philosophy, with an identity, with like you said, the culture around the cup. You can see what they're trying to do, and these guys at the top or top jobs, Pochettino, Erik ten Hag, they've got all the money, they've got all the players, but they've got nothing to show for it. Like themselves, like to imprint something into the team. And I actually think it's probably time to give these guys like a Silva or something. Give them a shot, because how else are you gonna? What's the point? Should Silva go to the to Ajax or something and win a league over there before getting a sniff at a top job or something?
Well, you say that, but remember, this is Silva's third go at the Premiership with a team. So remember, he was at Watford, and then he done fairly well at Watford, and then he got the job at Everton. So they were like, right, we're going to put our stocks in you early. And it didn't quite work out for him. So he had to go away, cut his teeth again.
Everton was the board, and that was a bit... It was all...
How they are now, isn't it? Like, they're still a mess. But yeah, it didn't really work out for him. And I think he's done well. Like, he was like, you know what? Let me go back to England. Because obviously he wanted to manage in England. He's like, let me go back to England. If I've got to do it in the Championship, I'll do it in the Championship. Done it with Fulham. Got them promoted. And from what you can see, there'll be a Premiership team for a good few seasons. So he might, you never know, if he continues and does well, but I think he's got to show like he can get deep in the cup. He can maybe get them into top 10s, and then other teams might start looking at him.
Because look, these teams are never going to have, they're never going to get players that Man United can get or Chelsea can get. They're never going to get elite players like that unless they get someone really young in that ain't done it yet, and like that's their start of their career or something like that, or an academy talent. They're not going to get that. So how are they ever going to show that they can actually do it at the big time? Even he's got Willian playing like a bloody, like he's...
And he won't be.
Yeah, and he's got a Wobie and he's got them playing. So I'm thinking like, what? How do you like? How does Gary O'Neill do it? How does Silva do it? How's the rest of them? Frank, Deserve,
Iriola at Bournemouth.
yeah. How
Yeah,
they
I
go?
think it's a lot of man management, isn't it?
Mm.
Like like we talk about the whole kind of Ten Hag with coaching. You can, if you've got the coaching down but haven't really got the man management, you can have an effect. I think those kind of managers, so your O'Neills, your De Zerbis, your Silvers, you don't really kind of hear many problems with players with them. It seems like they've got that on lock on kind of how to do the balance. But again, I think in terms of those kind of managers getting the top jobs, I think it's going to be hard, man. Like people always want what's new and shiny,
Yeah,
etc. Like especially this day and age, like everyone wants like instant success. And if you're not bringing in someone who's going to bring you who has had success, people are kind of going to frown upon it.
So
It's like people are saying, sorry, I just say like people are saying, well, if Alonso doesn't win Bundesliga, should Liverpool still get him? Like that's where the balance is. You know what I mean?
I'm thinking, yeah. So I know the money is in the Prem, innit? But ain't it better off you going somewhere like a Porto, Benfica, or a Ajax, a PSV, like somewhere like that, and winning a couple titles, or at least like being up at the top of that league and managing, and then coming back and getting a Chelsea, getting a Tottenham, getting an Arsenal, not Arsenal because we're good in it.
But
Getting
then you get the snobbery, don't you? Because like we've even said about Ten Hag, oh yeah, like he's only won the Eredivisie twice and the Dutch Cup once. Like we've done it ourselves, isn't it?
yeah.
So they can go out and do these things, but they still kind of get,
Transition.
is it good enough?
But saying that, I would, if well, I can't speak for a minute, but someone like a Silva, like we've said, he's very experienced now. He's had a good few jobs, and he's done it like from the Championship to the Prem. We've seen him like have an identity with his teams, do very well at some teams and stuff like that. Why not go to a Porto? Why not go to a Ajax, somewhere like that, but and then win something, and then come back and try and get a big job, because then you can say, well, I've done it here and I've done it abroad and I've won something, and you know what I'm saying? I'm
Yeah.
not saying, yeah, like the Ten Hag thing, I get it, because he's come straight from there and he's won whatever he's won, but he's come straight from there. At least someone here that's kind of done it, kind of been about, got a bit of experience, but can't get that top job because he's at a Fulham. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. So it's interesting you say that. So he started off in Portugal, started off at Estoril. Don't know much about them. He went to Sporting. He won the cup with Sporting.
see?
Then got sacked. Went to Olympiacos, won the title with Olympiacos. That's what got him to the whole job. So when Hull were in the Premier League, he was in 2017. So again, so it's kind of I even forgot he was at Hull. I thought he started off at Watford. So he went to Hull, done well there. Went to Watford. So basically, he came into Hull in January to try and keep them up.
And it never worked.
Unfortunately, didn't.
Mm.
Went for Watford. Went to Everton. I say didn't work out there. He had a bit of a break between Everton and Fulham, and Fulham decided to take a chance in. And I guess that was probably because he'd won the cup in Portugal, won the league with Olympiacos. So
You know what? Yeah, because I'm trying to think what managers, that the unknown managers, until they actually done something in their, not in their countries, but in another country, where do they mainly come from? And I'm thinking Portugal, the Dutch league, the German league, maybe. But I don't see any much Italian managers coming to the Prem. I see more Spanish managers, but they don't really win anything because it's real.
Maybe when Italian managers come, they're already up there in it.
Yeah.
So your Ancelotti's, your Contes, etc. So,
But do you think, because you look like you're talking about Silva and we're saying, why is he not getting a chance at a bigger club and maybe he needs to go elsewhere? But I don't know if it's based upon that. I think it might be more based upon the background conversations that are taking place about what he's doing in the club. You know, so what I mean by that is like when coaches or directors are saying, "Wow, you seen what Silva's doing at the club and the culture that he's creating in the club." So like we can go back years ago with Pep. When Pep took over Barcelona B, the murmurs started going out. Are you seeing what he's doing with Barcelona B? And then he got the main job. And then we saw he took Barcelona to another level after he took over from Rijkaard. And then it's like Arteta.
Yeah.
Like, when Arteta went to the interview at Arsenal, when he presented his 5-year or 10-year plan or whatever it may be, his whole focus was on, this is the culture I want to create. Yada, da, 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 da. And now we're seeing the fruition of that. Just like Klopp. Like, for me, it's about actually what is the culture that some of these managers are creating in the club. Hence the intensity, the running, etc., etc. Where and then again, Ten Hag's like kind of focus of the discussion today, when he turned around and said, "Well, I can't play that type of football that I played at Ajax. We got to play direct." Well, you could play the football you want to play. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think there's something because there's murmurings of De Zerbi getting the job at United because they're looking at the culture that he's created at Brighton after he's taken over from Potter.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then the question mark was over. Potter got the big job based on what he created at Brighton, but then he showed he couldn't manage, and you know he wasn't happy with some of the players that he got, and he didn't want to use those players, and in the end they had to let him go when Chelsea was in the transition.
But saying that, ain't it what they allow you to do also? So you can come in and want to create this culture, but the club might not allow you to do everything that you want to do. So like just what you said about Arteta, he remember he had an interview with Arsenal before and they brought in Emery. So his interview before, he probably showed them this big, I want to change the culture and and 10 years from now we're going to be this and that, and they probably thinking, nah mate, we
too much too soon
right now and do this and do that, and we want to be and then when it didn't work out with Emery and they saw the disconnect with the fans and everything that was going on, they actually humbled themselves and said, you know what? Let's bring this guy in. He's highly rated. He's got big plans, and he gets Arsenal because of what he wants to do with the culture, the fans, the team, blah blah blah. So, and I think that was the best thing that they have ever done, because I still think that Man United are still stuck in there. They haven't humbled themselves and said, we need to go back to stage one and start again, and let's go through it properly. And let's actually, well, they have given Ten Hag kind of free reign to do what he wanted to do. But just like the Arteta thing, the Ozil thing, whether it was his idea or not, but Aubameyang thing, the Guendouzi thing, it was him. It was he's the manager. It's up to you. You want to do whatever you want to do. You tell us, and we'll make it happen. Like, you're the guy. You came to us. We had an interview, and you told us what you wanted to do. Now we're not gonna say, oh well, we can't do that. It doesn't work like that. So I feel like it's what the owners and the relationship you have with the club, or not even the relationship you have with the club, it's what they want to, what kind of power they want to give you. But I feel like a lot of these managers need to be given the power and let them build what they're trying to build.
I totally agree. So Tottenham miss a chance to put some pressure on Aston Villa, and a really good win for Fulham, who are pushing for a top 4 finish. All right, let's move on to what is today's game? West Ham 1, Aston Villa 1. So in the first half, Antonio puts West Ham 1-0 up. It was a good cross from Kufau, I think it was. And then diving header from Antonio. I don't even know where the last time he scored was. I think it might have been when he was having bets with Wilson on their podcast about who's going to score the most goals, etc. And it's quite funny because neither of them have been prolific this season.
Yeah.
But before Antonio scored, there was a shout for handball against West Ham in their penalty box. Looking back and I saw it, I thought it was a penalty. can't remember who the defender was, but he had his arm out for like ages. Ball got kicked against it. Referee didn't just blow for it, and VAR didn't change it. So yeah, bit weird that. And then in the second half, there you go.
So I didn't think it was a penalty because he was given directions. He never raised the hand intention in the direction to block the ball. Like he was.
But it's away from your body, innit? Like if it's away from your body, it's risky, innit?
But I hear it's risky. But if you're given an instruction,
Wait. So wait, if you say go over there,
that's
go over there, see, get your man over there,
right.
and someone kicks the ball and it hits your hand, that's handball.
No, but he was like, he's telling this guy, look, stand there, watch that guy. And then the guy's getting the ball. The guy had to work his feet for like 3 seconds. It felt like 3 seconds anyway. It looked like 3 seconds. So I can understand why they didn't.
T, when you see it, like, his hand wasn't high, but it was like away from his body pointing.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a penalty, and I think West Ham can be a little bit aggrieved. Like, it's a shame Daz is not on.
This is it, because I think
on the pod today to give his.
That doesn't help.
Is it an unnatural?
Dad's got his own interpretations, isn't it?
Is it an unnatural position? And it weren't. It wasn't a unnatural position. It was out there giving directions to his teammate to cover a run or something like that.
No, but the arm can't be out though.
This is it.
Look, all I said, he was and that's it. So, but just interested about that. Like, finish up, Keith, because I was going to say something. Well, you mentioned something in the last.
No, I was just going to wrap up like how the game went. So after that, Diallo equalised for Aston Villa, make it 1-1, and then who was it? I think Finchek thought he won it in the 96th minute, but it transpired that he knocked the ball over the line with his arm. Quite sneaky, but VAR done well to pick that up. So that finished 1-1. Go on, Adrian.
So when we was discussing like who is it, Fulham and Tottenham, and was talking about like the immediate tangible expectation that fans have, I think right now the fans' expectation of David Moyes at the club is a bit unrealistic. You know, he won the Europa Conference League last season. And actually, when you look at them, they are playing some decent stuff. Again, it's just about quality that's in and amongst the squad to get them to the next level. But they've got a very, very good foundation that they're building on. You know, like kudos. I think the top four missed out on a deal there. Because now, if he has a good season next season, 60, 70 mil?
Yeah, everyone's saying, how could Ten Hag go back to Ajax and come with Anthony instead of kudos, isn't it? Like, it's just
crazy, bro.
It's mad. And it's interesting that you bring up the West Ham point, because on TalkSport, they had a West Ham fan who runs, I think he runs their main West Ham podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, I would back the manager, whatever, but he's all about, he wants the handbrake off. He was like, there's too many times this season where West Ham are on the back foot, they don't play on the front foot, and that's what everyone wants. That's what West Ham wants. I'm like, well, West Ham only really played like that under Harry Redknapp.
Mm-hmm.
Like, outside of that, I can't think of a West Ham. Okay, and maybe Zola for a little bit.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But outside of that, I can't really, like that's never been West Ham style. So for them to demand that style of play now, I find it a little bit baffling. Like, and a little bit kind of out of pocket to kind of be on.
That's cheeky. I was gonna say that's cheeky. You got a trophy last season, and you're still like you want more. That's activities, man.
And then where is he?
They're seventh in the league. Yeah, go on, Adrian.
So what did you say? They're seventh in the league.
Yeah, seventh in the league, 3 points off Man United.
Yeah, and this is it. And I think they've been. And I think sometimes you've got to be honest. I think like what you were saying. When you look at your squad, you're saying, all right, who's their right back? Kufar?
Yeah.
Right. Pardon?
Yeah, Kufar.
Yeah, Kufar, yeah.
He's solid, but he's a squad right back. You need a better right back than him to move up to the next level. Then you look at I like James Ward-Prowse, and I think he's very good. But again,
he hasn't played much of late.
Yeah, and then you got upgrade on him. Do you understand? So there's certain players like he becomes a squad player. Then you got who's the Brazilian that they got?
Emerson.
No, not Emerson. The centre mid, the attacking mid.
Paqueta.
Paqueta. Yeah, Paqueta. Yeah, baller.
Baller.
He's a top player.
And Jared Bowen again. So they've got a good foundation to build upon, and they want him out. But he won something last season, and he's 4 points off of 5th place. 3 points.
Yeah.
Look at the players he's bringing in as well. Quality players. But you can't bring in 4 or 5 at a time. It's really like, it's just every now and again they bring in a top class player, but they can't do it every single window, bring in 3 of them or 4 of them at a time.
Yeah, it's got to be done over time. I think they could replace Kufal. I think if they get a right back, another centre back, because Zuma's getting on a bit now. Mavra Parnos is okay, but again, more of a squad player.
Yeah.
So I think, I'm going to say 4 players. I think they need a right back, centre back, players who can come in and play straight away. I think they could upgrade Souček, and I think they're good with Alvarez and a Souček replacement, and then a number 9 who can get you 10 to 15 goals in the league.
Yeah. They should go Harry Maguire.
Yeah, Harry Maguire. Yeah.
Right there. Right back.
Harry Maguire and Nketiah.
Even Nketiah. That's not even that's a shout. Nketiah, Harry Maguire, find the right back. And find...
Also as well, I know people are touting Toney for a big move. I think Toney would do well at West Ham.
Yeah.
With the players around him, Bowen, Paqueta, I think
he'll go there.
Why wouldn't he?
I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Do you think he would go there?
He's a Man United.
Chelsea. I think he's looking up. He's looking up. Like that's what I believe. He thinks
that's a side step.
He's looking and thinking, I'm going to a top team.
Shit. We don't think it's going to be Arsenal. The other, if he's looking for a top team, the only other option would be Chelsea, right?
Everyone needs a striker apart from City.
No, we don't need one.
You would take him.
He's better than that.
Wait, we got 5 attackers. I'm not sniffing at Toney, but I'm saying right now, it's not our focusing. We don't need a Toney.
You don't need
Chelsea need a 9.
Tottenham
need a 9. So yeah, you could say Tottenham.
United. They've only got
but would he want to rotate with Højlund in it? Højlund's
you have to. He's a kid.
No, I think if Toney goes to a team, he's going to a team where they're saying you're our number 9 every week. There's no rotation. You're the guy playing. I think that he gets that at Chelsea. He might. I don't think he gets that at Tottenham. I think Tottenham would be a rotation thing. Man United would be a rotation thing.
I'm thinking if Toney goes wherever he goes and he does the same thing that he's doing at Brentford, there is no rotation. They're going to play him. They're not going to rotate. If he goes Man United and he's banging goals, they're not going to play Højlund in front of him. They're not going to.
So what, you just write off 60 million?
No, they've got their investment in it. Remember, he's getting on as well. Tony's getting on. They've got their investment. He'll play, but he's not going to be the main man. And he shouldn't expect to be the main man at Man United. This is the problem with these guys. They're buying these guys for 70 million or whatever, and they're coming in and they're playing every single match like they're the main guy. He's not the main guy. You're not the main guy.
Yeah, I heard that. But
West Ham
I think
a good move for him.
Yeah, I think West Ham's a good move for him, to be honest. But I don't play every week. You're getting service, and
I don't think that's what he wants. Though.
No. European football. Remember, you haven't even played European ball yet.
No, but he thinks he deserves to be with the Arsenal.
Yeah,
the Newcastle.
Yeah,
where Newcastle
they might come in for him. So imagine, what are you gonna do? Chelsea, Tottenham, Man United, and West Ham come in for you.
That'd be a good move for him.
Yeah, I know where you're going. Well, it'd be interesting to see where he does land, because everyone thought it would be Arsenal, but let's see. Moving on to the rest of the weekend's Premier League games. So Luton won, Nottingham Forest won. Nottingham Forest played pretty well. I watched this game, started off really well, but they just couldn't hold out. Luton have got this thing of never say die, other than when they were 3-0 up at Bournemouth and lost the game 4-3 the other week. Massive opportunity for Luton missed here. They would have gone out of the relegation zone if they had beaten Nottingham Forest. These are the kind of games they need to pick up points in. So yeah, Chris Wood opened the scoring, and then Berry equalised in 89th minute. What's interesting about Berry, he scored in League Two, League One, Championship, and the Premier League. Not many players can say that. Yeah, they have done that. So yeah, I think Luton will be kicking themselves, and then Forest will be happy that they managed to avoid defeat there. But I still think it's going to be tense down there. And then moving on to Burnley 2, Brentford 1. Reguilon got sent off for a foul in the box, penalty given, and a red card. So it's a bit interesting considering what happened in the Leicester game today. Well, like everyone says the double jeopardy thing shouldn't happen, but it happened to Reguilon. Again, we should have had Daz there to explain this, but
don't they say that they said something about intentional fouls and non-intentional fouls?
yeah, but I don't think it was a foul, but I don't think it was intentional. It was just clumsy. Like it was just, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we need Daz to talk this one through.
A genuine attempt for the ball, then it isn't a red card. But if you're just pulling to a professional foul or something, it's 1-on-1 with the keeper, then they'll just give you a red.
Fair enough. So yeah, Bryn Larson put Burnley 1-0 up, and then Fofana missed like an open goal. It might be missed of the season, to be fair. Like it's worse than the Newcastle one, Luton, back in the last year. Like it was really bad. But he made amends in the second half, made it 2-0. Neat little finish, and then Aya pulled it back to 2-1 for Brentford, and then Toney fouled the goalkeeper as I can't remember what player it was had a goal disallowed. But yeah, Toney fouled the goalkeeper, and the goal didn't count, so they ended up losing 2-1, and that moved Burnley a little bit closer to Luton. So Burnley are on 17 points, Luton on 22 points, 18th and 19th, and then Nottingham Forest on 25 points. So yeah, it's still tight down there. Yeah, even Everton on 25, Brentford on 26. So there's either 10 or 9 games left for most teams in the league now. So it's going to be an interesting end to the season and the running after the international break. So yeah, speaking about the international break, England's squad was named on Thursday, and the main talking point of this is Gareth Southgate being asked why Ben White was not called up, and he turned around and said that he spoke to, someone, was it Edu? Edu phoned someone at England and said that Ben White doesn't want to be considered for call up for the games against Belgium and Brazil back end of this month. And there's been a lot of fallout for it. Again, TalkSport, my favourite station, had Harry Redknapp on, and he said it was a disgrace and that the door should be slammed shut in Ben White's face and he could never be called up again. Other people have been like, well, we don't know what has happened because obviously he went to the World Cup with England, left that camp early, hasn't been called up since. There might be a fallout that we don't know what happened. And then other people have just been like, you might just want to put club over country just because you're a footballer. And it's been well documented that Ben White has no interest in football other than when he's playing football or training. It might just be a case of he's not interested in being an England international. So what's your guys' take on this little Ben White situation?
I don't think he's not interested in being an England international. I think he's just looking at the dynamics of that situation and saying, well, am I going to get a fair chance? I don't believe I am. So I'd rather spend time with my family, rest, rather than playing international football where I'm not going to get a fair crack. I think Darren Bent gave a really good kind of perspective of that whole situation, and he spoke about actually when he went on international camps, and he never named players, but he said some of the players that weren't getting selected and knew they weren't going to be selected for a game, they would either feign an injury to go home. You know, there was and they were released from the squad rather than not turn up and then they'd be criticised for saying I don't want to play for England. I think historically, even Paul Scholes kind of came out and said he never really enjoyed playing for England, and it was more of a kind of chore rather than a desire to play for them. I remember he retired for a little bit, didn't he? And then he kind of came back into it. I don't think he retired for long for England, but it's just one of those things. I think with Ben White, something's gone on. Like the rumours are, he had an argument with, is it Steve Holland or another?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, had an argument with the coach, and then he just said, "Well, I'll go home. I'd rather go home." And I think once that coaching team's gone, I think he might be up for being back into the England squad. But I don't think he likes that actual coaching team. And I think the other issue is, this is where you got to be careful with your words. Where Gareth Southgate spoke about, I'm going to pick players based on form, etc., etc., and you made it clear that you want to pick your favourites. You know, Harry Maguire being one of them, Jordan Henderson being the second one. You know, Calvin Phillips being a third one. Where these players weren't playing for their clubs, weren't in great form or had no form to show, and they were being picked all the time.
Yeah.
So I think.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think if and when Southgate goes, I think the door will be open for Ben White again. He has been really consistent as a right back for Arsenal. There is a debate of, it's all the right backs that fit. Where is he in the pecking order? So you can say you've got Trippier, you've got Kyle Walker, you've got Reece James, you've got Trent, Walker. Like, so we're one of the few positions that we're blessed for, like, good quality players, isn't it? So my take on it is what it is, man. Like, it's a case of many fans putting pressures on footballers based on their expectations if they were footballers. They're saying, oh, if I was a footballer, it would be the be-all and end-all to play for England, blah, blah. And don't get me wrong, Ben White said it has been a privilege. So when he first got called up, he was playing for Brighton, he got called up, and he was like, yeah, it's a privilege to play for West Ham. But once you're there, like you say, it might not be your thing, innit? Like, just because you're a footballer doesn't mean you have to fall in line with everything that people say it is. You don't have to live and breathe football. You don't have to want to play for a country and be honoured to get a call up, etc. Like some people just might treat it as a job. That's what they're good at. They just want to treat it as a job, get paid, go home to their family. T, what's your take on it?
Just like you said, first of all, with the fans and all of that stuff, it's him. He doesn't want to be there. He might not enjoy the environment. He might like the whole club kind of atmosphere better than the England one. You might not want to talk to the guys from bloody United or Liverpool or Chelsea and that, wherever they're from. You might not want to chill with them. And then on the other side of things, we've all said stuff about Gareth and his team selections and his whole thing of favoritism and seemingly not giving anyone an opportunity of even just showing what they can do, even in a friendly. Like, just give someone a chance. Like, some of these games mean nothing. Just give them a chance. Give someone a chance. Like we said, and me included, I don't mind saying that he probably wouldn't play if all of the right backs were fit. That's cool. But what's the point in me going somewhere? I'm training. I'm away from my family. I'm doing everything that you ask of me. And when there's a friendly, you don't even play me. So what's the point? What's the point of me actually being here? But most footballers go along with the whole, oh yeah, just get called up, just go and blah blah blah. Agents telling you, listen, go, it's good for your look. Like, don't worry if you don't play, just go there.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah, it looks good. Just go there. Don't worry about it. Boom, boom, boom. Whatever. Some players don't want to be at home with their wife and stuff. But
they're happy for the break.
They're happy for it. Let me go. Like, certain things like that. So you never know. He might legit just think, it's point. First of all, we all know people. You lot probably say me as well. I'm not staying somewhere where I know I'm not playing. Yeah. It's pointless. I'm not playing. I'm not staying. Yeah. I can do a million. I'm a millionaire. I'm Ben White. I'm a millionaire. I can do 1,000 other things with my time, and I'll watch you lot at the Euros or whatever. Cool. But I'm not a bit, like I've seen Merce and all them lot talking about it. The same one with Darren Bent and they're just saying you can't turn it down. Like, who are you to tell him he can't turn it down? You don't know what's going on. He might really enjoy being with his family, and he doesn't sit up there and do nothing. And it's
I think
into a guy that doesn't keep his word about people on form, because Ben White has been one of the most in-form right-backs there's been in the past 2 seasons. So I fully understand whatever his reason is, because we actually don't know his reasons, but I'm supporting my guy, my player, my right-back.
I fully support him. I think it's been blown out of proportion, and I think players should be given grace not to conform to the norm.
Yeah,
I know. It's like,
why?
Yeah, I would say it's more. I think if someone said it's disappointing, I'd be like, yeah, it can be disappointing because of the player that he is, what he can offer. And he's predominantly playing right back. He can play centre back. It's slightly disappointment that he's not going to be in the squad. It's not a disappointment that he feels the way he is. It's disappointment that we haven't got that quality in the squad. That's what I would say. Go on, Adrian.
And like, it's just kind of, I always think back to all the players that England used and never played them. So, and before they changed the rules, remember they used to give guys 1 caps and they couldn't play for no other country, and that was whether you're of African or Caribbean descent or whether you're of Scottish or Irish descent. They'll give you the 1 cap, and how many players that they kind of disrupted their kind of international career based on that kind of model where they say, all right, we'll give you the cap, we're not going to play you like they've done it with Zaha. Remember then Zaha was able to and go to Ivory Coast because they changed the law.
I think it was a friendly, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I think they changed the rules, and I think, I'm with him. And actually, like, when you look at TalkSport, because I've been following it on TalkSport and Sky Sports, when you look in the comments, a lot of fans actually back him. Like, non-Arsenal fans, a lot of them are saying, why waste your time? If you're not going to be picked, I don't blame him. A lot of fans understand why he's not going. It's a job. Yes, as a child or whatever, I may have wanted to play for England as a kid, but that's my passion as a kid. When you're there, it's a different setting.
A casual fan will play anywhere. We play anywhere for free. So, of course, we're gonna be like, you should go and play for England. Yeah, cool, because we'll play for nothing. We will pay to play. Like, so it's different, innit? Different. It's completely different, bro. And I totally get it. If he don't want to go somewhere and he feels like he's wasting his time and he feels like there's actually no kind of route to get in that squad and the environment's a bit dead anyway, I might as well just be with my family, be with my mates, like chill out, go to the training ground at Arsenal, work on a few things and just chill. Done.
Totally agree. We got Ben in his decision. So just a quick overview of the squad. So Jared Brantwaite was called up for the first time, Everton defender. I think that's kind of deserved.
Yeah.
Joe Gomez was called back up into the team, and I think over the last 2 months, I think that's deserved as well. Ezri Konsa, again, done pretty well at the middle of the season.
Yeah.
Maguire's in it, to be expected. Midfield, standard, Declan Rice, Bellingham, Gallagher, Maddison, Henderson. I'll come back to that quickly. And then you've got up front Anthony Gordon called up to the main squad, along with Bowen, Rashford, Toney making it back into the England squad, Watkins and Kane. Just on Henderson, Calvin Phillips, who wasn't called up, and I think that's right because he hasn't played well at West Ham since he moved. Phillips said he spoke to Southgate ahead of the move to West Ham, and Southgate said to him, "You've got more chance of being called up to the England squad if you stay in England and go play for an English team." But then you look at Jordan Henderson, who's playing at Ajax, not pulling up any trees at all at Ajax, and has made the squad. So again, is it a case of Southgate kind of negating on his word a little bit?
Yeah, exactly.
And just showing that he's got his favourites. So we like, based on this squad, we know Henderson's going to, unless he gets injured, we know Henderson's going in, don't we?
I think there's 2 things though even though I don't agree with it, I think from listening to like footballers and reading stuff in the background, one thing that Jordan Henderson's got is leadership. Like all the players that have played with him, or they've talked about his leadership skill, how much of a leader he is, and etc. etc. And maybe Gareth Southgate saying, "I need that mentality in my squad to help us galvanise the squad and keep us going." I don't agree because I think it's time to move on. But I think that might be the only kind of caveat as why Henderson's still being picked for the squad based around his leadership. Because is he not the captain of Ajax now already?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, I think he got vacated after like a month.
Yeah,
Yeah,
give it the armband already.
Yeah. I totally understand it, Adrian, and I think that is the reason why he's in the squad. Like he's not there for his impact on the game, etc. Like even in Liverpool, they said like the impact he had in the dressing room is like second to none. He's a leader, like he can do people up, etc. And I said I think that I personally think that Southgate might step down after Euros, whether they win or not, and he's prepared to end the cycle the way he wants to. So he's like, right, these are my players, Maguire, and I'll back Maguire when he plays for England. Hardly ever lets the side down. Maguire, maybe Phillips, Henderson. These are the guys that I can trust during my tenure, and then when I move on, it's up to whether the new manager will pick them or not. And I think that's kind of how it lies. So yeah, England play Brazil and Belgium in their next two games, and I think this is the last squad before the final squad for the Euros is picked. And then we'll just wrap up today. I'll just leave it to you two. Europa League quarter-final draw was made last week, so we've got Arsenal v Bayern, Atletico v Dortmund, Real Madrid v Man City, Paris Saint-Germain v Barcelona, and then the winner of Arsenal Bayern will play the winner of Real Madrid Man City in the semi-finals, and the winner of Madrid Dortmund will play Paris or Barcelona in the semi-finals. So, how are you feeling following this draw? I personally think you're gonna beat Bayern. What's your guys' take on it?
Well,
don't be quiet now, because I've been gassing all week in the chat. Don't be quiet now.
I'm confident, but I'm still being real that this is a cup competition, and Bayern might have just been gearing up for this, quarterfinals now, semi-finals, final, boom. Like this is where they might kick into gear, and they still got some quality there. They've got Musiala, Kane, obviously he's doing a madness over there right now. Sane, like they got some serious players, bruv. But I believe that this will be a special tie. We've been needing to give them some licks, for a while now. So we're gonna
revenge season, innit?
Yeah, we're gonna give them something to remember. But at the same time, I actually feel like they're gonna try and come at us. They're gonna take the game to us, and I feel like that's what we need. We don't need a defensive team or team that's gonna just put everyone behind or frustrate us and all that stuff. We just want a game with a real team, and this is gonna be good. It's gonna show us where we are with the elite.
I think I'm confident because we definitely got the players to do it. We definitely got the players to do it to hurt them and hurt them bad. I think my only reservation is what Arsenal turns up in terms of mentality if we play within ourselves. And I think we saw that against Porto. I think we was in somewhere mentally against Porto where we'd never been before. And a lot of the players didn't have the answers how to manage through it. I think that like the two games against Porto, that's the worst I've seen Saliba play. He was a bit hesitant. He wasn't very as aggressive as he'd been in the league. Just in Porto, I think, he made a couple of mistakes. He weren't great in the duels, in my personal opinion. But we definitely got the quality to go on and win. I don't think it's going to be what we hope for, which is a proper good beating, a good hiding from. I think it might be a 2-0 or 1-0. It's going to be tight. But I think we can win. But I think if we are going to win, it's not going to be a hugely convincing win, and that's me being honest. I think we're going to get over the line, just do enough. I think that's more based around mentality and the occasion kind of getting to us, rather than actually knowing we can do it and beat them convincingly.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good tie. Like you say, Bayern Munich haven't played particularly well this season. I think you'll have enough to get over the line. I know like the whole kind of European experience and that, but I think you'll do it. Who do you think will win out of City and Real Madrid? Who do you think and who do you want to win that title?
I think Madrid. I think
you want Madrid, or you think Madrid are going to win?
I think Madrid. I just think, been watching City, and I've been saying it all season, even though their quality is very good, don't get me wrong, I don't think they've been as convincing as they've been in the past. Like last season, I think they were just on this excellent blinding rock. I just think they're to be got at from Real Madrid. I think Real Madrid's got enough quality in their squad to hurt them and hurt them bad.
I think the midfield is going to be so key. And I feel like there's something about City. We've said it. We've been saying it for a while now. They're still the machine, but they're just not the machine that they were. Something can't... Well, we know what ain't right. The Mahrez is gone. Gundogan is gone.
And they're giving up chances. That's what I've been saying. They're giving up chances more than they have.
The Guardiola signing hasn't pulled up any trees. You've got Ake and Akanji. Yeah, they're good, but it's still like you can get at them. And when you got Vinicius and Rodrigo and Valverde, and they got so much legs in there, bro. Like Bellingham, it's gonna be a serious game. Like that's gonna be a serious game.
For the neutral, I think that'll be a very good tie. For me, I think it's going to be. I think you go through. I think City go through, and then the other side of the draw, I think Madrid and Paris v Barca is. I think that is such a 50-50 tie. Like they're both not great at the minute. I'll stick my neck out and say Barca.
I'll say PSG.
I'm going PSG.
I think Mbappe's gonna. That's gonna be a stage for Real Madrid fans. I think he's gonna give a.
Remember, they're not even they're not really playing him in the league right now.
Yeah, he's been sub a couple of games in it since.
Yeah, but in the
Champions, he hasn't even officially announced that he's leaving. But hold it. You're not staying. Hold it.
The manager's basically said, like, we know he's leaving, so we're just. Yeah, we need to play without you, kind of thing. We need to get the other strikers involved and whatever. And they have actually other strikers, so they're doing that. But Champions League, he's definitely going to be there. Yeah. He's definitely going to start. And I feel like they will get through Barcelona, and I predict a big upset to Atletico Madrid. I mean, not to Atletico Madrid, to PSG. I think Atletico Madrid will beat them and reach the final.
You don't want to play Madrid in a one-off game, bro. Like.
If Arsenal beat Bayern Munich and beat City in a semi-final, which everyone keeps saying, the only team that can beat City is Arsenal. If we face Atletico Madrid in that final, I'm not confident. I swear. I'm not confident.
Yeah.
They are going to die on that pitch. They are going to fight for everything. And we're a young team. We're a young team. This is going to be a new... Like, it feels like, as an Arsenal fan, it actually really does feel like I've grown with these guys. And I don't know if we're ready for that. Like, on my life, I'll rather play, even if we win, lose, whatever, but Bayern, Real Madrid and City, these, like, the quarterfinal, semi-final, I thought, great. I thought if we land at Atletico Madrid, that is going to be so tough. It's going to be mad. I'll be. Who knows? We might get through 2 legs, but one
Yeah.
off game. Wow.
I think for the good of the Champions League, Atletico Madrid need to get to the final because whoever they play in the final, it's peak. Like we saw what happened when they played Real Madrid in the final, like a few years ago, when like what's his name, Ramos had to save them. Like they know what to do in it. Like they know what to do. But yeah, I think it's going to be good, man. Like it would have been nice if City and Arsenal were separated on the sides of the draw, but it is what it is. Yeah, and that's something to look forward to. Right, we're going to wrap it up there. Before we go, just say, yeah, thank you for all the likes, the shares, subscriptions to all the media content that we're putting out. Please keep it coming, especially the comments. They're always fun to engage with. And yeah, we will catch you next week. So, peace.